Okay, Larry's. I was not going to talk about this because it's not directly related to all things Larry, but because if you've been listening to the videos for a while, you do know that I like to bring in a lot of psychoanalytic theory, my own interpretations, not to be mistaken for any kind of therapeutic advice, but just my own understanding of the academic theories around psychoanalysis. Anyway, my point is, because of that, I have been seeing people talk about this, and I think that I have promoted people who work on LGBTQ plus affirming care, survivors of closeting, whether institutional or environmental, like through their family. And so I'm going to talk about this. So if this is not of interest because it's not about Larry, you can tune out. But number one, this has been a dialogue in the last, say, 2-3 weeks about someone named Dr. Cheyenne Bryant, who made some comments about how she's not practicing under a license anymore, but she was never licensed. And here's the thing. If you were ever licensed and issued a mental health license, either as a clinical psychologist or as a master's level therapist, even if you inactivate the license, surrender the license, retire the license, whatever, it's always going to be public record. Unlike criminal records, you can't expunge it. So if you go to the California Board of Psychology or the California Board of Behavioral Sciences and you look up Cheyenne Bryant, there's no record of ever having been issued a license. Now, what about if somebody gets married, changes their name, whatever? Well, here's the thing about the law in California and in most states. If I were to change my last name and because say I got married, which I personally it's too much of a hassle changing your name when you get married. But you have to always list when you use your license. If you put like LCSW or LPCC or LMFT, whatever, if you're going to put that by your name, it better follow the exact name as it is written on your government ID. So yeah, I changed my name doesn't fly either. Another one that is also to be noted is that if you're issued a doctoral degree, then yes, even if it's a doctoral degree in any subject, discipline, whatever, you can call yourself doctor, but you're not a medical doctor. And you're also not necessarily a doctor of psychology, which is kind of where the controversy is coming from. Because yes, she does state that she has a PhD. So yes, she can say Dr. Bryant in her salutation. However, two things. No one can find her dissertation when she was at Argosy, which was a school that was shut down and apparently was shut down when she was still there. But then there's rumors in social media that she was dismissed from the program. And then there's also what has been covered is that her PhD was it was an honorary PhD from Harvard Christian, which is unaccredited. And even if it was in psychology, here's the thing. It's not like you graduate from a program and then the next day you can hang up a shingle and say, hey, I'm a therapist. Does not work like that. It just means that you have finished the formal part of your training. The next state is to obtain, in most states, what they call they call it different terms in different states, but in California, it's a associate's registration, which means that you would be working under clinical supervision under another fully licensed person's license. Now, for that person to also supervise you, they have to meet board requirements. So the process of getting licensed in California, which is one of the hardest states to be licensed in, by the way, is 3,000 hours of clinical supervised experience. And you have 6 years to do it as a associate level. I don't know what it is for psychologists because I haven't gone that route, but needless to say, it's kind of a lot of hours and that has to be supervised. So once you accrue those hours, then you can apply to write the license exam, which is, you have to hand in all your signed clinical supervision logs, all the paperwork that shows that you were under supervision. And then they have to review it. They have to audit it. And then if you pass the audit checklist, then they'll Then they'll give you permission to write the license exam, and then you have to go and write the license exam or take the license exam, schedule the exam, and then you have to pass. And then when you pass, then the pass score goes to the board. Again, I'm talking California. Other states might be a little different, but Cheyenne, Bryant's in California, so I'm keeping it to California. Then you can apply to get the license issued. So once you pass the license exam, then you would have to apply to have the license issued. And that's another, last I checked, when it was like $200. So there you go. And then that license is good in California for 2 years. You have to renew it every 2 years. And then you have to meet requirements for completing all the required continuing education classes in the time between, like when it's issued to the renewal to the next renewal. And yes, they can audit it. They can ask you to pull your records to prove that you've been maintaining the requirements of your license. So it's not that easy. That's why people have 6 years, and hopefully some people get it done sooner, but you have 6 years to get your 3,000 hours. In California, people that are pre-licensed and and are registered, they have to be employed as a W-2 so that they get the protections of the labor laws here. But do you see why people are upset? So if this is relevant to you, I want you to take away from this is, before you work with anybody for therapy, number one, make sure they're licensed in your state. And this is how you do it. You would go to, if they claim to be a psychologist, go to the Board of Psychology, the California Board of Psychology, and you click on Verify License from the homepage. If they claim to be a social worker, marriage and family therapist, licensed professional counselor in the state of California, you go to the California Board of Behavioral Sciences and you click Verify License and you type in their name. And anyone who is licensed should have their license number mentioned on their either Psychology Today page, which most people have, their website, or any kind of official correspondence. It's often in the signature portion of their email. Please work with someone who is licensed. And the reason why is, I am not saying that someone who's licensed is necessarily better. It's not saying that they cannot make a mistake, because it can happen. All I'm saying is, and I'm kind of repeating what a lot of other people are saying, is that you have recourse if something goes wrong. You can take them to the board. If they're a life coach, you're SOL. So anyway, I kind of pulling a bit of a Louie and calling out this crap. And mainly because I think that a real special interest of mine is actually the effects of institutional closeting from an industry. And there's a whole story about that, but I'm not sharing it yet because it's in the preliminary works. But the thing is, I do talk about this. People have asked me in my real life if I know anybody who's LGBTQ plus affirming, and of course I send them to who I call my LGBTQ plus Dr. Young friend, mentor, Dr. Michael Gray in Los Angeles, and his whole network. But they're all licensed or they're under supervision. And I just would hate to see somebody go to someone that's unlicensed and that person causes harm. That really bothers me. And it's something that it should not happen. And if there's a way to avoid it, the best way is to verify that they're licensed. And also it goes to say that Cheyenne Bryant is playing with words on a podcast. She said the name of the licensing board wrong. I mean, and do you see the wordplay of, I no longer practice under a license? Well, but you never were issued one. If you were, please share us the day and the number, because no one can find it.